you guys? Welcome back. It's Mr. Eddie Barber, and in this haircut you're gonna see that this guy's got the kind of hair that just picks up every little line. It's so easy to make mistakes in this, and that's why it's so important that you stick to your steps and you understand your fade scale. So what we're gonna learn today is how to cut this type of hair, how to approach it, what to do. So stick with me through to the end, and this will help you learn how to do this kind of fade. We're gonna turn this guy's hair. He's never really had a hard part before, so I was creating the hard part, and he wanted me to shave it up to the part on that one side. So you know that was going to change his hair quite a bit because his hair tends to flow in that direction. So you guys are going to get this question all the time. Do you think that my hair would be okay for a hard part? In most cases, I would say if you're willing to wear gel, it is. But if you know your hair just doesn't want to do something, I mean, my theory has always been, why swim upstream? I mean, if your hair is really good for a particular thing, then why not wear your hair that way? Why fight your hair? If it wants to go to the left, why push it to the right? You know? And so many clients are trying to kind of fight their hair. But in this situation, I was actually able to make it work pretty good because of the fact that he has so many growth patterns. It was difficult, but I managed to pull it off. So let's check this out. Alright, so you basically see me going through, and I'm taking the number 2 on the clippers, which I plan to do clipper over comb, and I'm removing all the bulk. I'm going to take it up a little bit higher in the back of his head because I don't need that hair sticking out, and I'm going to bring it right up to the line where I plan to do the hard part on the top. And then I'm going to spray it with a little bit of hairspray. That's kind of like a pro tip. It really helps you put the edge in. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to do my clipper over comb. If you don't understand how to do clipper over comb, I'm going to put up this card real quick. Check out that clipper over comb video. I worked really hard on it. It's 30 minutes long, and I do believe it can help you. So now we're going to go and I'm going to put my skin line in, and after I've done my clipper over comb, everything is clean, I'm going to put my skin line in. I like to put my skin line in, you know, start on one side, jump over to the other side, and then do the back, because that way you'll be able to keep both sides evenly. Now I got the electric shaver going. This was during the time I was using the new Babyliss FX02. I've since returned this machine. I do not like this machine, and I'm just knocking down all that bulk, and I'm stopping a little bit before I hit that line so that I can prepare myself. I want that skin line to be perfect, so when I did the skin to the 5-0 line, I want that to be perfect. Now my favorite attack on this type of hair with this type of machine is to put the half on closed and begin my guideline with the half closed. As you see, it's actually going to be very similar to beginning your guideline with the open taper, but we're doing it with the half closed because the clipper cuts better with the half closed, and it always cuts better in the closed position. So now I'm going back through with the open taper, and you're going to see me start to wipe out that line. What you're going to notice is when you do this technique, you're going to see that it's just super easy to wipe out that line with this technique because you've already put it in with it closed. Now you come back through with it open. I've barely moved the lever, and look at what damage has already been done to that original line. So if that isn't evidence enough, now trying to keep it on an angle, trying to put down one of the corners, and slightly closing your blade little by little and staying lower each time you close your blade. So essentially what's happening is at the top of the skin line, okay, I have it wide open like this. As I drop down just a tiny bit, I go to this next notch. As I drop down a little bit, I go to this next notch. I continue doing this until this clipper is fully closed and I'm at the very bottom of that line. Once I'm at the very bottom of that line, I should just about have it completely wiped out. In the event that this line does not come out entirely, you need to go back to your trimmer. I don't like to see a whole lot of cleanup work personally. I like to handle these things as they come. I'm very thorough, and my work that I go back and have to do is rarely because I was missing steps in my process. It's more often because the head had different shapes in it and I had to adjust for that, which you will see in this video also. I'm going through with the number 1 open, and I'm flicking out a little bit as I get to the top. Remember, I did the 2 on the back and sides, and I clipper over comb that into the top. So you're going to see that that's actually going to be okay, and it's going to be very close to perfect. So I'm going to wind up having to go back through there with the 1 1/2 open, 1 1/2 closed. But still, I'm repeating the same process with the number 1. I'm beginning with it open, I'm closing it a notch, staying a little bit lower, closing it a little bit, staying a little bit lower, and I'm just watching how it goes. Now if you make a mistake during this process, you can always open the clipper back up and you could go back in there and you can detail that work back out, and then you can begin closing it again. But if you're keeping it on an angle and you're moving it properly, you're not going to have any problems. Now, of course, this bottom line is not going to come out because we put the original attack on with the half guard closed. So we're going to have to return to the half guard open, and that's what you're seeing me doing in this step. And once I return to the half guard open, you're going to see the majority of this blend start to really come together, and it's possible that you're going to have to go back to the open taper as well. Remember, I'm telling you, do it one step forward, 2 steps back if you have to. Whatever you got to do, step back and finish that previous step before you step forward. Don't make a mess of this whole thing so you have no idea what to do in your cleanup process. It's a lot easier to address this now rather than later. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention to you guys is you notice that this clipper blade has a bend in it, right? So flat is not actually like this. It's actually like this, okay? So it's not here, it's actually here. So as long as you're maintaining contact and you're keeping that blade flat the way that you're supposed to, you're gonna keep those lengths intended by the manufacturer. So if you understand your fade scale and you understand the process and the steps in between, you guys are gonna be golden. So that's really all you need to worry about. You need to keep that clipper flat, keep that clipper pressured on the head. And then that way, you know that you're not making lengths that are not part of the system. The system is perfect. The system is designed for you to succeed. So the only thing that changes the system is you moving the clipper away from the head, or you holding the clipper on some funny angle. But as long as you're holding it flat, you're keeping it down, you're keeping that good pressure, you're not going to have any issues with the blend. You're going to find it very easy, especially if you know your fade scale. So understand the fade scale, which is just going to tell you what step comes next. And if you choose to use my system, which I believe is obviously one of the easier systems out there, or I wouldn't be out here trying to teach this, but if you choose to use my system, you're going to find this really easy. All you're going to have to do is watch the steps that I took, watch the order that I took them, and understand your fade scale. It's very simple. I'm just attacking again with the half closed, and I follow it up with the open taper. Begin closing it notch by notch until that blend is perfect. Then I jump to the next step. I'll do it with the 1. I'll open it, and I'll see what it does as it's open, right? And as I begin moving down, I'll begin closing it, and that blend will come out. As you see me just knocking out each step exactly the same way, so none of this is really changing. Or possibly you're just jumping all over the place in this and you're making mistakes because of that. But if you build it on a thorough, solid foundation as you worked up from the bottom, moving towards the top, and you handled any little mistakes that you made on the way up, because nobody's perfect. I mean, I make mistakes during fades all the time too. I'm not gonna say I am perfect. I'm just telling you guys that I address those mistakes before they become big problems as I get up further in the head. Because once you're done with the haircut and you go back and you see just a ton of dark spots, a ton of little lines, a ton of spots you missed, well, that can be daunting and that can be a lot of work to try to get out. Even for myself, I might make a mistake in that process. I might think, oh, I could get it out with the number 1. And I grab the number 1 and it turns out, oh, it was actually the 1 1/2, and now I've made more work for myself. So handle the work while it's less, handle the work while it's easier to finish, and you know exactly where you are, and you're not gonna have any problems. This is gonna be a fairly simple thing for you. And of course, if you need to, return back to your trimmer. Each step that you move forward into, don't be afraid to go back to. So if so you see me going in with the 1 here, and I got it open, and like I was saying, I'm gonna begin closing it, taking it down, closing it, taking it down, and little by little, you're gonna see that blend start to come out. Now, because this is a hard part, I can pretty much feel free to take this pretty close to that top line, because in a hard part, you also don't want to have a bunch of hair hanging over top of your line, causing your line to not look good. So it's okay if you have to take this side up a little bit higher, and you need to address those little hairs that kind of stick out over your hard part. But this guy's got a really weird hairline and a really weird growth pattern, right next to where I planned to do the hard part. And the reason why I planned to do it was because some of his hair was swooping down here and the other hair was going up over there. So in order to make this work on his particular head of hair and his particular circumstance, yeah, I had to go ahead and I had to put it in a spot that, you know, was not ideal for blending, but I will address it and I will fix it, you know, before he leaves the shop. He will be looking real good. So you see how much damage I was able to do with the number one open and the number one closed. And the same thing is going to happen here. I need to go back to that half guard open, half guard closed to get out that bottom line, right? Because I attacked originally with the half guard closed. And I didn't follow up in that area yet. All I did was the open taper under it. So what you basically see here is just a faint line, and that's what you're going to wind up with if you use this system. So going back through with the half open and the half closed, and you're going to see that there's going to be not much work to do here. You're going to have, you know, just minimal cleanup, and you're going to see it come out the majority of the time. Now, if it doesn't come out, what are we going to do? We're going to step back another step. We'll go back to the open taper. We'll do it open, and we might even have to do some of it closed a little bit to get that spot out. But that's okay, because we're being thorough. We know exactly where we are in our process, and we're working through it. Now, on hair like his hair is super, super fine. Okay, so there's not a lot of hair to go around here either, and every little mistake you make is going to show big time. And sometimes it's not even mistakes that you're making that are actually going to show. Sometimes it's just going to show problems because you got different dips in the head, different shapes of the head, and generally working in the back of the ears, this can be a trouble area. Around the occipital bone, if you try to do a low fade, that can be an area that's difficult to deal with. So you're going to see me go through now, and now I'm going to do my little bit of cleanup work, which of course is going to be fairly minimum because of the work that I put into it originally. I put a lot of work into this originally so that I wouldn't have much work to do in this process, and that's why I'm always telling you guys to try to be thorough, try to be careful, and just handle your steps in order as they come, and you'll have no problems with this. Now, as you can see, the blend is starting to come out pretty good. He's starting to look pretty clean, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to 86 some of these little trouble areas, and I'm not really going to have too much problem with that. And what's basically going to happen is the blend is going to come out smooth, and it will come out smooth for you too. And I'm just going to do a little scissor over comb here. Of course, if you don't understand how to do scissor over comb, refer to my scissor over comb video. It's a great video. I worked really hard on it, and I think it can really help you too. So I'll put that upstairs. I'll put that up in the cards. You're going to see me go through now, and I'm doing the hard part. I've picked the area I want to do it in. I'm just making myself some space, and I'm cutting that line in the area that I feel it's best to sit. Okay, you're not always going to be able to put the hard part in the most perfect spot for everybody, and you know, you're just going to have to work with what you got with certain people. Now in this case, I was able to make it work pretty good. I had to do the line a little bit different than I would on some people, but that's what it's all about. I mean, people are going to come in and they're going to want stuff that their hair doesn't necessarily do. I've noticed this all the time. People whose hair goes back, they want it to go forward. People whose hair that goes forward, they want it to go back. People want what their hair can't do, and that's a pretty common request for people to ask for. So I'm just going to go through. I'm going to edge him up. I'm going to shape him up, and I'm pretty much going to leave you guys here to rock out to some music. I hope this video helps you out. If it does, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man. That really helps me out. It shows people more of my videos, and it helps my information get around a little bit more. And I really appreciate you guys for all the support and all the love. And I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Tell me what you think about this one. Leave it in the comments, and I'm out. And now, a word from our sponsors. We don't have any sponsors, okay? This is just me trying to make a difference. I make all the videos, I edit them, I shoot them, I film them, I got all the cameras, the equipment, computers, and it's all very expensive to make these YouTube videos. Okay, anybody who's interested in checking out some of the tools that I use, like this is my total favorite setup. It's battle tested. I've used it for many years. Most of the stuff here has been here for a long time, and it works excellent. Go ahead and click that link in the drop down below and you can check those out. And I finally got some merch up on the channel, and if you decide to scoop one, it really helps the channel out. If this channel helps you out and you want to support it and you want to see more of it, anything you do like that will really help me out. And also, I want to do more product giveaways and stuff like that, but it's expensive. And I left a link to my PayPal PayPal down below. If you guys kick in a little donation, we're gonna start getting in some of this. I can start giving away more clippers and I can start doing some more things. You find it in your heart to throw even just as little as $1 or $2. It could go a long way to getting some of these clippers in some of these people's hands that might need them, and I can continue to do this for more people.
On the way to being free.